broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to episode 201. Yes, we are in 201. If you missed 200, you can go back, on Spotify, YouTube, and you can find it there. Right here. We're going to get started here. So those of you who have not been in any of my podcasts before, I'm Iggy Garcia. This is Iggy Garcia Live. I'm live on the air. For those of you who know me, welcome back. It's good to see you. It's good to reconnect with everybody. We're going to light a little sage here and just kind of create and cleanse and clear this space so we can get into our topic tonight or this afternoon. Since we will be in ceremony. I love the smell of sage. It's just beautiful. All right, so those of you who are used to my shows and kind of know what's going on. So here, we kind of talk a little bit about everything. We talk about shamanism. We talk about all different things. Today, our topic is going to be, living a freestyle life, through self-expression. What's that mean? How does that work? How do we do that, without compromising ourselves or anybody else? So we're going to attempt to see that in that way and go that direction. But I wanted to share with you guys, for those of you who don't know, because in the last show, it was in production. I'm already on my second book, so this is my first book, for those of you who are not aware. This is Drum Circles Made Easy, a guide for freestyle drumming and self-expression. So this is my book. You can find this on Amazon. In Amazon, you can purchase this book. There's also any version of the book. And so this book basically talks about how you can, be in the drum circle as a new beginner, a person who's never drummed before, and feel welcomed, and the little protocols of drumming. So this is my take on how I approach the drum circle and how the drum circle invites us into the space. So for those of you who are not familiar with the drum circles, I've been doing drum circles since 2000. On a regular basis as a facilitator. And I've been drumming. Pretty much it's an organized freestyle type drumming, with some cultural sprinkles in it, from learning from different cultures and different drummers from the past, and some of my mentors who are no longer with us. And so I'm pretty excited about the book. So this book is to help the newbie, the person who's new, the person who has never drummed before, the person who's never been able to connect, and be in a circle and feel comfortable. So I highly recommend this book. There's been a re-edit on it. So, it's my first book. So we're learning, right? And it's on Amazon. You can purchase it. And, just if you like the book, leave me some comments there. Leave a review. Let me know how you enjoyed it. The book is really good. I've gotten good reviews so far about it. It talks about how we go into the circle. And so just to kind of give you a couple ideas of what's in the book, I'm going to share with you. Okay. Well, we always say it's good to be here, for those of you who know me. So chapter 1 is pretty much your introduction. Chapter 2 is the heartbeat, explaining what the heartbeat is and what the heartbeat represents in all drum circles, period, and what that, creates and the manifestation it creates. So for those of you who are not familiar with the heartbeat, we all have our personal drum right here on my left side, depending how you're looking at me on the screen. But the heartbeat is crucial to creating that environment, creating that space, creating that synergy, that energy of drumming. And so the heartbeat is super important. We also talk about drum etiquette, drum circle etiquette. So for those of you who are not familiar with, there is drum circle etiquette. And, I'm going to share that with you guys because I think it's vitally important. Because a lot of you go into circles, not intentionally, and You think that some of the things that are there are for you. But I'm here to tell you, when you go into drum circle, unless the facilitator says, these are the toys you can play with, don't touch anybody else's stuff. It's personal property. It's somebody else's thing. So, without giving away too much, I'm going to read just the piece and part of the book, okay? So this is drum circle etiquette. Number 1, protect your drum and hands. Avoid wearing rings, watches, and bracelets. Why do we do this? You have to read the rest. But the reason we do this is because, number 1, your rings and your bracelets and things can get hitched on the hide of the drum head, and you can puncture it and you can hurt your drum. Plus, hitting the drum with your rings or bracelets can cause injury to your hands or your fingers or to your wrists. So that's one example of etiquette. Number 2, etiquette. I'm not going to read them all completely out because I want you guys to check the book out. It's worth the read. Number 2, seek permission before playing someone else's drum. This is super, 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 super important. Ask permission. Never assume that you can touch somebody else's drum in the drum circle, because it's just because someone's not playing it doesn't mean it's for you. And a lot of people do this in drum circle, and it's, a lot of people out of politeness, or they'll say, yeah, sure, go ahead, unless the drum facilitator sets out drums or somebody else sets out drums, those drums are to be played. I'm going to tell you, this is just like life. The book is about life, about how we intersect the circle and how we move into communities and how we move out of community. These little tidbits are super important to know because, number 1, we don't want you to get butt hurt if someone says no. Okay? If someone says, no, you can't play my drum, don't get upset. Don't be like, oh, I thought this was community drum circle. I thought we were supposed to share. No, it's community, but it's not to the point where you are going to just do whatever you want in there. No. Okay? All right. Number 3, respect other drummers' space. That kind of goes along. If someone leaves the circle, okay, don't take their seat immediately. Okay? So here's the thing. People, it's just like any event, right? Sometimes we got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes we got to just take a break. Sometimes we got to move away. If someone leaves their drum or they leave their chair, in drum circle etiquettes, leaning the drum towards the chair or lying it on its side or covering means, please do not touch my drum. If you did not know that, now you know. It's in the book, and there's more in depth to that. So you can get this on Amazon. Okay. I'm going to promote my book because this is what I do for a living. This is what I do. I facilitate drum circles and teach drumming, and I work through my medicine through sound healing. Okay. Number 4, listen as much as you play. By tuning in what's happening around you, you'll better understand how to fit in collectively. So I would, for somebody who's new, this is a lot of this information is for new people and for some people who've been around. When you're playing, yeah, you want to play your rhythm. I get it. But sometimes you have to follow what's going on in the train. It's a train. It's like a circle, right? And just be mindful that where the circle is going and how the circle is going. Don't try to change it. If you're not the facilitator, have honestly respect for the person who's leading the circle. Regardless if you like it or not, you're going to find circles that you're not going to fit in. You're going to find circles that don't resonate with you. And that's okay, because that's why we have many circles all around the country in our communities, because everybody does it different. Everybody does what they need to do and share what they need to share. All right. Find your place in the groove. Every circle has this unique groove. That's kind of goes in along. I kind of jumped a little bit. There is a groove in a drum circle, okay? Because in this book, I talk about the cultural aspects of drumming, and I also talk about the freestyle aspects of drumming, okay? The free expression of drumming, the cultural expression of drumming. Because there's more to drumming than just hitting it. There's also learning patterns or learning rhythms. And some circles you will find that you'll be able to do that. And some other circles, you're not so much. Sometimes you just have to follow the leader and you have to keep going. So, when you talk about African drumming, tribal drumming, They have specific songs that they play, specific rhythms and beats that they play. And if you have a freestyle drumming, because I do a lot of those most of the time, just because people are just to relieve stress and let go. There are rhythms, there are beats that we do, but there's also a pattern language that's being played out in a repetitive motion, a repetitive way. And so that's another one. Okay, let's go. Okay, leave space for others. Don't dominate creative space with your notes. So basically, don't play something else because you don't like what's being played. Go with the train. I call it a train because it's a train. We're going in a circle. We're moving that energy. And you know what? Have respect for everybody in the circle. I've been in so many circles where I don't know if they were just deaf tone, sorry, and they just didn't hear the rhythms or the beats that were being played. But I've seen where drummers have just sound like they're just being obnoxious on purpose because they either don't know how to drum. I don't know. I still can't quite figure that out. It's one of those weird anomalies. Share the solo space. Okay. So there are a lot of solo drummers who could be better than a facilitator. That does happen. But here's the thing. When you're a solo drummer and you want to participate, the facilitator will give you an option to represent and to be able to share your beats and rhythms at some point. You just have to be patient. And the facilitator, if he's a good facilitator, he or she will know, and they will invite you to participate in that energy, creating that energy. All right, here we go. This is probably one of my biggest ones because a lot of people, they don't mean to do this, but don't smoke, vape, burn incense in the circle. Like during the circle. This is an anaerobic exercise, so we are actually exercising, our upper respiratory system in our body, and we're creating, exercise. We're creating, and the last thing you want to do is be inhaling vapors of smoke, vapors, whatever, anything that burns has smoke, and that's such a hard thing for people to grasp. There are people who are allergic to certain types of things, so we also have to keep that in mind. That's something I had to learn as well. In a big event, there's not a whole lot way you can control, but in a small space, you can dictate how that works. Incense, vaping, smoking, or anything like that it does not help the circle. I know that some folks love to do that stuff, but it's no different than someone blowing smoke in your face, especially when you're like you're drumming and all of a sudden That does happen, unfortunately. Okay, and the last one, number 10. Have fun, keep drumming, enjoy yourself, do your best, and remember, it's good to be here. So it's super, super, super important to know that the whole reason we do the drum circles is to have a good time and to have fun, to learn, and to be part of something special, something amazing. And sometimes people create within the circles. They have inner creations within the circle. There's things happening that you're not aware of, and the things that go on. Another thing is just minding, other people's space in the circle. Entering the circle and be inviting, open, smile, be welcome to the space, because that's very vital. That's very important. So in this book, I also talk about the cultural aspects of stuff. So there is a cultural, freestyle, and community and self-expression. Those are the four cardinal points that I believe are important to drumming, and that's also in the book, and that explains a little bit more about drumming. So this book is it's not very long, which is good. I didn't want to make it super long because then you kind of lose things. So in chapter 3, it's drum circle etiquette, and chapter 4, the facilitator and you, what you and the facilitator, how you will work together, and drum creation, drum styles, and then of course about the author. So this book can be found on Amazon. This is Drum Circles Made Easy by Iggy Garcia. Just type in Iggy Garcia, you'll find my book. I do have another book right now. It's in the work. It's the manuscript's it's complete, and that's going to be about shamanism. So of course, here's the manuscript. Excuse me. This is the manuscript for my next book, which is going to be longer. It's going to be about 30,000 words, 8 chapters, and it's going to be a book about shamanism, beginner's guide to shamanism, how and what to expect and some keys and some ideas on meditation, how to ground energy, and how to understand that there are multiple versions of shamanism, as there are people in this world. You have shamans from Peru, you have shamans from different parts of Africa, you have Siberian shamans, you have indigenous people here in the United States that call themselves shaman. You have urban, suburban, and rural shamans. You have all kinds of shamanic practitioners all over the world. And I think sometimes we landlock our mind in our perception of what a shaman is. And so it could be fair and it could be unfair at the same time. But the cool thing about it is this: understand that there's all kinds of shamanism and all kinds of work that we're going to be doing through that process. If you want more information about me, go to iggygarcia.com. You can see episodes, past shows that I've had. I got thousands of shows that I've done with other people, interviews. I have my own line, which is Iggy Garcia Live, which I just talk about these things. It's an open mic. Starting next month, I'm going to be actually interviewing more people, more practitioners in my community, outside of my community, and just kind of bring some leaders in to share some of the thoughts and ideas about this particular type of work. This particular type of work, for some people, can be scary. It can be kind of, hard to grasp, hard to understand. And, for a lot of people, when they come to a holistic healer, someone who works on healing energies and moving energy, it's the last straw for them. It's the last thing that they've tried everything, Western medicine, blah, blah, blah. But in the combination of the two, sometimes we can find some equilibrium, some balance, which creates harmony. And shamanic practice is more about creating the harmonic flow and the resonance of our energy in alignment with things around us. Balance, there's a catch-22 with balance, because everybody has a different version and interpretation of what balance looks like and what balance does. Balance is like the scales for a lot of people. Balance can be, I'm over here, down here. In most people's eyes, they think that it has to be equal, to each side. But that the balance is different for everybody. So I tried to stay away from that word a little bit, because it has a lot of heaviness, and it has a lot of misconceptions of what we think we should have about ourselves. Because realistic, nothing's perfect in this world. There's nothing that in our world is uniquely perfect. But here's the cool thing about it: there's perfection in the imperfection, as my teacher once told me. Because within that imperfection, there are perfections. There are things that create. There are things that open up doorways and stuff. So I find that very fascinating. So I just thought I'd share that about my book. You can find it on Amazon. So I'm really proud of that book, because that's my very first book, and all the years that I've done, because all the information's been in my head, and all the research I had to do to bring that book to light, which is interesting. There's a lot of people I credited in that book for helping me, and I'm really happy for that. I'm really excited for that. So for those of you who follow the drum circle circuit that I created and that I've been doing since 2000, we have some drum circles coming up. We have a drum circle coming up here at Sayota Audubon. Those of you who live in Columbus, Ohio, it's the Sayota Fest. So at 10:45, we're going to be doing a drum circle. We're going to be facilitating a community drum circle and opening up that energy. And then my friend, Mamadi Masari, is going to do his later at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So you get to see two different styles of drumming. You'll get to see kind of more of a Latin American rhythms, percussions, more of a percussionist type drummer, versus, the African style drumming, with it has a little bit more, there's a little bit more of a direction, a little more, we want you to play like this or like that. In our circles, we do that too. We create the energy, and we create those heartbeat. We explain what we're going to be doing and how we phase in and phase out. In order for us to do this, we don't have a whole lot of time, but we have to be very quick and very precise on how we do things. Number 2, on Sunday, this is the most amazing event that we have ever had. For those of you who have ever been to Hocking Hills in Ohio, in Logan, Ohio, Hocking Hills is a very beautiful area. It has a lot of cave type dwellings, overhang type caves. We're going to be at Ash Cave, from 11 to 4. This is kind of our big family gathering event, where we invite a whole slew of people from different drum communities, and we all come together, and there's probably close to 200 to 300 people there. It's one of the most amazing things you will ever witness, where people come together, and people love going there because just the acoustics that comes out of that cave and just pushes out is phenomenal. It just blows your mind. It is the most beautiful thing. So we have all different drum styles and all different percussionists, all different dancers and, healers and singing bowls, all kinds of things. They all come together. They all come together to create this beautiful moment in time. And I find that so fascinating, so amazing when we can all come and share our gifts. So that is this Sunday, okay, and that is the 15th, September 15th, 2024. So those of you who play back this message, some of you might play it back after the fact, or 5 years later, you might hear this message, but that's how it goes. But these are the kind of things we create. It's about creating energy. It's about creating community. It's about creating love. There's so much crap in the world right now. There's so much going on in the world that, all of us are suffering and going through stuff. And, I'm just blown away how we have bought into all this rhetoric. And, granted, yeah, I understand why we complain and why we raise up and why we yell and scream. But you know what? In the end, folks, man, I'm going to tell you, in the end, once that's all that loudness is over, we're just back to square one. We're back to where we started. We're back to the energy that we're most comfortable with, which is our homes, being in our space with our people we love and we care about. There's no reason for all of us to hate each other. And then you know what? That just feels like right now that's kind of, I'm not saying that's true, because that could be a false statement too. We may not really truly hate each other. It may just feel that way because somebody's pumping that information. So where we get information, how we get information, who we're listening to is as vital as learning how to drum from somebody, right? You find the source, you find the person who knows how to do it, and you do it. So here we are in this world, and we're all trying to navigate it. We're all trying to do the best we can with the tools we have and all the things that we've learned along the way, and from the parents that taught us and raised us, and from the people who we entrust our lives to, either our grandparents, our brothers, our sisters, aunts and uncles, because everybody has a different situation. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to live a freestyle life and with self-expression, you have to come to the conclusion that, no matter what, there is nobody, there is nobody who can save you. There's nobody who's going to say, hey, I can fix you, I can save you. No, it's the decisions you make. It's the things that you decide that you're going to do or not do that mold our lives. Mine too, guys. I can be stubborn and obnoxious and say, hey, I don't want to do that, no, whatever. But every decision that we make, every moment we have, we have some control in. The illusion is that we don't have control over certain things. I don't believe that. I saw a video, my friend Danny posted a video about a guy. I was just like ecstatic when I saw this. And you've probably seen this. He has glasses. He looks like he's in the bayou somewhere. And he's just like, you know what? Every 100 years, there's a new group of people. I was like, oh, whoa. Every 100 years, there's a new set of people that we are occupying the earth with. I was like, I had to hear that. I had to play that back. I'm like, you're right. There is a whole new set of people. Everybody here on earth, everybody who's online, everybody who I've never met, may never meet, we're all sharing the same space, the same earth, simultaneously. We're all here together. We're all in here at the same exact time. Isn't that crazy? When I thought about that, I've known this because I've posted things like that and I've talked about it, but the way he shared it, he was like, you know what? We need to get over ourselves and all the things that we think we know and why we are doing and why we're being so destructive. And I'm thinking to myself, this young man or whatever, he's got a point. We stress so much over things that don't really matter. In 5 years, what you were doing 5 years ago doesn't necessarily matter. It's where you want to be in 5 years, right? It's the relationships, the friendships. It's the people that are around you. It's the people that you let go of. It's the people that you invite back in and re-invite, let go. There's an ebb and flow of friendships, ebb and flow of family. The majority of us, we find ourselves, with disconnections with our family. Not all of us, but a lot of us do. And we have to ask ourselves, why is there disconnection with our families? Why is that? It's pretty simple. It's because the people that we grew up with think they know you and you think you know them. And so anytime they go out of character in any way, anytime that they don't feel connected to you, there's something wrong with you. You drank the Kool-Aid. Oh, Iggy, what? I never knew you'd be a shaman. I don't remember you being a shaman because you never asked and you never knew the things that that I was interested in. I never knew you to be a drummer, blah, blah, blah. And, it's kind of like, it's because you can't live my life because I'm living my life. It's mine to live. And you don't have the perceptions or the idea of what I like in my creation that I've created. And every day we're all creating. Every single one of us creating. And sometimes we create beautiful things. And sometimes I don't know what we created. It could be a hot mess. But either way, it is what it is, right? It's what we created. So to be freestyle means that we do it our way. And whatever our way is, as long as it does not do harm to somebody else, then that's valid. Now, when I say don't do harm, I mean legitimately hurting someone else for intentionally hurt. And, sometimes we do it unintentionally, but there are people who really want to prove a point and really hurt somebody so they'll never hurt them again. Hurt people, right? That's what they say. That's the old saying. Why do they hurt people? Because, it's a pattern language. It's a pattern language. We've learned pattern language. Everything that we do is a pattern language. And when I mean pattern language, it's not about speaking. It's about behaviors and feelings and emotions and all the things that we've been taught and that we've used to protect ourselves, that we've used to create a barriers to keep people away. Everything that we've done. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. As human beings, we're gifted creatures. We're super gifted to do amazing things. But sometimes we let our egos and our judgments get in the way of allowing things to develop or create. How is it that you can have a friend that's been your friend all your life and they've been great, and all of a sudden, because you're out of alignment with one thing, the world has just ended that relationship and it's done. Does anything from the past mean anything to that person? Does that mean anything to you if you were the one who created that? It baffles me. It blows my mind. It's like, that we cannot get over our differences. And we've created such a beautiful relationship in the past. And if one ideology, one belief, one thing terminates it, that means the friendship wasn't strong enough to understand or comprehend or be able to say, oh, okay, my friend sees the world this way, but they're still my friend because I need a different vantage point of life. I need to see the world differently because you know what? My side is my side. It's not that the world sees the world that way. It's how you see the world. It's how we see the world. We only see the world how we want to see it. We only see the world as what we digest and ingest into our bodies, into our minds, into our spirit, into our soul. And all that resonates on there inside of us. So when somebody does something that you don't like, something that it doesn't align with you, and because they said something or their behavior was a certain way at a certain time, people go through shifts and ebbs and flows. And you know what? Especially when the work I do, and some of you who do this work like I do, there are times where you have to cut people loose, right? But then there's a moment where somebody comes back to you and says, hey, listen, I really need, to be around you or your energy or in this space because it brings me happiness and joy. I know that I was wrong. I understand that I wasn't correct, but I understand that now. You as the facilitator has to go, okay, let's give it a shot. Because not everybody, sometimes our clients think that they're the only client, and God bless them, they're not the only client, or they're not the only student. There are multiple ways to teaching multiple students, and there are certain people that you totally have to say, hey, you know what, I need to, hey, and there are others who you can compassionately feel in their heart that they didn't know what they did or they didn't know what happened, but you know what, they're willing to fix or change or evolve into that space that will help things become better. But we won't know that. We don't know that until that happens. It's very rare that I've ever had to kick too many people out of my circles of drumming and stuff, but it does happen. It does happen. And as as a healer, as a metaphysical healer, holistic healer, lessons that I learned earlier and still learning to this day is there's always two sides of the story, especially when there's conflict inside groups. There's two sides. It's the one person's side and the other person's side. Then there's a third side, which is what you hear and what you decide, between two or three individuals, how you're going to respond to all that. Your input is valuable, because so many times, and I've done this and I regret doing this, the person who's the most loudest of and feels the wounding, the one who's, that legitimately, oh, I got hurt. Oh, this person hurt me, blah, blah, blah. We automatically go, oh my God, did they hurt you? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that they were hurting. I didn't. But then we totally go, you hurt her, you hurt him, and then we didn't give that person a fair shake to hear and listen. And sometimes they don't know how to express what happened because that was not their intention, or maybe it was their intention. And I've done this in the past, and I regret doing that. I regret not listening to the other person speak. And I will tell you, and that was a very humbling thing to listen, to know that I sided with somebody who, didn't necessarily tell me how, they only told me how they felt. And that they put conditions on how they felt and what would happen if that person's still around. And so I'm going, oh my gosh. And then you find out later that the story that they told and the story that they're telling, there are some things that, go together. And then there's some things that are like, they're not even close. And then you have to make the decision as the facilitator, as the healer. What did you hear? What did you feel? Because you're not gonna make everybody happy. Okay, that's a fault I have. Okay, and I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody to enjoy the circle. I want everybody to enjoy, the work I do, and I want everybody to, be able to heal themselves. All healing is self-healing. But I learned that what, some people don't want that. Some people are content being destructive of their own selves, and allowing other people and giving away their power to other people, allowing other people, oh, but they hurt me and I'll never forgive them for that. Okay, that's fine, but you know what? They're no longer in your life, so they really don't have anything to say. You are empowering them regardless of them being there. I see this all the time. I see people like, and I understand it's traumatic and it's trauma, but you know what? Work through it. Work through it if it's that important to you. If you feel like it's that important to you, you got to work through it. Because if you don't work through it, they become your, the thing that holds you back. And that's the last thing you want. That's the last thing you want, anybody holding you back. That's the last thing. To live a freestyle life is to understand that it's you that decides what is good for you, what is good for me. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, you're married to somebody or dating somebody, you have to understand that, what is good for you doesn't also mean it's good for your partner. Hey, partner, you know what I'm saying? It's a true story. Just because you want to be like this or flow in this way, because when you're in a partnership and a relationship, somebody at any given time, not always, someone's giving up something in order to make sure that there's energy flowing through that relationship. And the problem is sometimes it gets top heavy. This is what the balance, right? The harmony is broken. The harmonious connection is broke because that one partner, it starts going like this. And then that one partner's like, becomes resentful, becomes frustrated, becomes angry. And this partner's going, yeah, we're doing great, aren't we? Yeah, we're doing great. What's wrong with you? Why are you down? It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We're good. Are you sure, honey? Are you sure you're okay? Yes, we're good, honey. Okay, let's go. But, that happens, man. That happens to me. That happens to everybody. There's just, I don't know. There has to be some type of agreement, some type of way to go. How do we make this work? It's because we're always constantly being hypnotized. If you talk to my friend Josh Wagner, he's here on TikTok. He has his own practice. He'll tell you, all hypnosis is self hypnosis. We're constantly being hypnotized, and we're constantly being, hey, working through it. There's no difference from, he was talking about his show. I'm going to interview him here sometime soon. He's talking about the difference about stage hypnosis and regular hypnosis. He says there's really no difference. It's just how the application is done. So I was like, that's fascinating. And some people are very good in creating energy and creating that hypnotic feel in that moment. So if we're being hypnotized, if we're hypnotizing ourselves constantly without knowing, just imagine when you turn the bloob tube on. We used to call it the bloob tube in the old days because it was blah blah blah. That's all it would feed you. My mother-in-law, when she's gonna watch the news, actually it's 12 o'clock. You can go watch the news. She goes, yeah, I'm gonna watch news. And I said, I'll tell you what's on the news. And she goes, 2 people died in Columbus, Ohio. One guy ran a red light and caused an accident. The weather's gonna be about 86 degrees, and they're still trying to decide who won the debate from the other night. And the sports was, well, Deshaun Watson's gonna probably leave Cleveland because he has another allegation. I think I hit some of those points pretty good. And she just looked at me, she's like, okay. But that's her entertainment. She's 90 years old, man. I can't really like be upset with her, because she's outlived most people's lives. She's outlived people younger than me, and she's outlived people who are just slightly older than her, or younger than her. But the point is, I give her a pass because she's paid her dues, and my job is to try to make sure she's comfortable in her home as she begins her journey back home, because that will happen one day, and I'm aware of that, and my wife and I are aware of that, and those are uncomfortable conversations, but we want her to live life the best she can, what she has. So self-expression. So what is self-expression? That's a loaded word too. How I express myself, how I express my self in the moment. When we were all in the pandemic, when we were all locked away, self-expression became a very vital tool for our mental health. Because in that moment, for those of us who were like to be out and about and do things, it became one of those times where we weren't able to do the things that we usually are comfortably doing. And then we started to create a new renaissance. I talked about this on several shows. A new renaissance developed. A new things happened. New things got developed. The rich got richer. That's their renaissance. They got super rich off that thing. And then some of us created through arts, created through music, created through dance expression, painting. New businesses evolved, new ideas evolved. There's all kinds of amazing things that happen. I'm not saying we should have pandemics and create new things. This is just what happened in our time. Remember, the last major crisis that we had like that was about 100 and some years ago. And all those people are gone. Remember what I was talking about? All those people who lived together and suffered together in that crisis no longer exist. They're gone. They're no more. So here we are. We're living another 100 years. None of us here, most possibly, will not live to 100. We're lucky. I'm lucky if I get 20 or 30. Not because I don't want to. It's just we don't know what our timetable is, what's going to happen. That's why we have to make the best of opportunities. I'm not saying make the best out of every opportunity, because not every opportunity presents itself in the way for us to like, oh yeah, this is great, you know. And we don't always wake up, oh, it's gonna be a beautiful day, you know. But I try to wake up and say, you know what, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for the breath I have today. You know, thank you for the good things in my life. Thank you for the things that are challenging in my life, because they all bring me some kind of understanding about who I am and what I need to do and what's going to happen in my life. And so we go through this process. We go through this process. And so for all of us here creating self-expression, you know, creating that freestyle life, to be free and to create that style of life is not means not to take from somebody else. It doesn't mean you're gonna take somebody else's, you know, gifts and use them to your benefit. No, it means you're gonna create for you the most bountiful, beautiful life. You deserve, you deserve to be bountiful. You deserve the gratitude that you want to create. You deserve to have abundance, but you have to believe that you're going to create abundance. You have to believe that that's for you. You know, that's the biggest thing, is that sometimes we don't think we're worthy enough of the things that we should have, because we have learned behaviors that suppress us and keep us down. But at any given moment when we want to change, we can. But here's the thing: when we instill the vices of and the ideologies of change, it means we have to be something else. We need to evolve. You know, if we're comfortable being who we are, if we're comfortable being this human being, and we're comfortable inside this body, and that's fine. But if we're not comfortable in here and we want to move out of here and we want to grow, and this is what happens to a lot of people, they have to let go of things. You have to let go of old patterns. You have to let go of some people temporarily or forever. And sometimes you have to say, hey, you know what? In order for me to get into that space, I need to do everything that I'm not doing the same way. If I keep doing it the same exact way, I'm going to get the same exact results. And this isn't something you've not heard before. This has been preached, by many motivational speakers and talkers and preachers and teachers, whatever. If you want to change your life, you can't stay here, because here is comfortable. Here is the normalcy. This is the things that what you're going to get. This is your 9 to 5. This is your job. This is your paycheck to paycheck life. But in order to move out of your paycheck to paycheck life, you have to invest into this new life. And this new life may mean you have to cut back on things. You need to, do things differently. You need to approach things differently. But most of us are afraid to do that, because that means I might fail. Well, dang, man, you've been failing over here all this time. You've been falling on the ground and you don't even know it, because you keep blinding yourself and telling yourself, one day, and when I have the money, when I'm ready, when I'm blah, 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 you're going to get it. And that never happens. So the credit cards you pulled out, the credit cards you have that you could use to catapult yourself into a new existence, like to purchase a business, I'm a business entrepreneur. So for me, I think creating and finding the right business, and you have to filter through some business sometimes. Sometimes the business you think is the best for you and the idea is best for you is not. But here's the thing. You have to move. Like writing this book. Here's a good example. I wrote this book. And the reason I wrote this book is because for years I kept telling myself, I don't have anything to give anybody when I have my classes. And, I need to give them something, because if I don't, or I need to, they can purchase off of me. And then, that it just became a crutch and excuse for not doing it. And then one day I was watching a video like everybody else does. I'm just like everybody else. I watched the video come across on the Instagram, because that's where I was. That's when I saw it. And this guy was talking about, hey, you want to work from home, blah, blah, blah. At first I didn't know what it was. I just kept investigating more. And it was about publishing books. It was about how you publish books. There's tons of free stuff on it. What I didn't know is that there's formulas and ideas and ways to do it. So you have to, sometimes spirit leads us in a direction for us to say, okay, I'm going to lead you down this path. You have to make all the decisions and decide if this is the right path for you. If not, there will be many multiple paths, but I will show you these paths. So Spirit showed me the paths. My ancestors showed me the path. And so it was about publishing. Publishing.com is a company, for those of you who are interested. I don't make any money off promoting them, but they're my teachers. They're my school. They're my education right now. Because what I know from my dad used to publish when he was a young man, he says that's where the power is. That's where the ideas are. This is what creates and manifests and helps people grow, is publishing the ideas and the thoughts. So here's a book that I didn't publish, but it was published back in, let me see, what's the date on this? This was in 1997. Okay? Think Yourself Well. And this is a book that I peruse through sometimes. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, somebody put the research in it and made it work. And and that person probably goes, I hope someone buys my book. It's a good idea. It's like my drum book, right? Some people are going to get it. Some people aren't going to get it. They're just, they're not going to purchase it, or some people are just not going to understand what's in it. And there are other people who are going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know. So, I am in this school. Now I have a business. I have a publishing business. It kind of fell in my lap. And it's something I've been wanting to do. And I didn't realize it was going to be so much fun. And, that's the thing. It makes it even better when it's fun. I mean, that was one of those key points that I didn't want to spend like countless hours in, drop shipping this, drop shipping that, and moving this and moving that. I would rather have something supplement my income. So I'm new at it. It's growing. But, my main goal is to make sure that I have material for the work I want to do. And it's been a blessing. And, I'm going to say I'm pretty excited about it. I don't want to get too much into details of that because our topic is your freestyle life. But here's what I'm saying. I want a freestyle life. Freestyle. Free to be, free to express, free to be who I am. Wake up when I want to need to wake up. Make every day a weekend versus just Friday and Saturday. We all live from Friday and Saturday, most of us, right? Because we're punching the clock. And you know what? That punching the clock serves a purpose. I'm not here to discount jobs, okay? That's not what I'm saying. And some of us are designed to work, and that's it. And some of us are not designed to work, where we're working because we have to. And there's some of us who have some amazing ideas, some amazing dreams, they say there's nothing new under the sun, but you know what? That's true, but a lot of it's in here. And you know how many people go to the grave with a lot of things in here? A lot. Almost all of them, who don't put it out there. We have every excuse why we can't do things. We have every excuse why we can't, be successful. Well, he's good. I'm not good. I'm not very good at writing. I'm not very good at listening. I have dyslexia. I have, this or that. I only have one hand. I only have no arms. I have no feet. Come on. I knew a blind guy. Okay. And this is when I was in multi-level marketing with Amway years ago. He was blind. And the guy made money. So I felt kind of, this guy's blind and he's doing this, And this guy's in a wheelchair doing this. So it's like, come on. You really, 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 the excuses are we just pile excuses upon our why things are a certain way, why we can't do things a certain way, why we can't move forward, why we can't, have happiness, why we can't have the perfect relationship, why we don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, why we spend so much time on our whys, why we don't have, that we don't have enough time to give to what we would like to accomplish, where we want to be. And everybody wants. You can't come from want mentality. I want this. I need this. No. It's humbling when you're down and you're growing and you're learning, because it molds you. And you're like a diamond, right? Like they will say that, it's like all that pressure, there'll come a breaking point to where you just say, I've had enough of this crap. And you will pull yourself out of that hole. Because I don't know anybody who likes to be in the hole and going, man, I love it down here. I love suffering. I love being in the caca, I love this life, because I'm safe here. I don't have to be accountable for anything, and I don't have to grow. And if you don't like me, then you can go someplace else. You know, most people don't like you because you don't like yourself. It's not the other way around. Most people don't like you or are kind of done with you because you've shown character that you don't really care about who you are. You know, how you are part of other people's lives. This is just my experience from the work that I do. I see a lot of people suffering. I see a lot of people create these fictitious walls because they're not real. They're only real in your mind. They're only real in your head when you allow them to be and you empower them to be real. And that's why a lot of us are stuck. A lot of us are stuck because you know what? The energy that we created to create that block doesn't let us flow through. And you're like, oh, but you don't understand my situation. I don't care about your situation because it's your situation. I can only care about my situation. My situation is the only thing I have control over. I don't have control over your situation. You have control over your situation. So if you want to change your situation, then you need to have a different type of thinking about your situation. It's very simple. It's very easy. But you know what? No one likes simple and easy because that's too easy. It's too simple. Oh, it can't be that easy. I can't just say, I don't want to be poor anymore. Poor is a mentality. Rich is a mentality. Middle class is a mentality. You know, when you look at middle class people, they have a certain mentality about what they think about themselves being middle class. I'm not poor. I'm not rich, but I'm middle. I'm in the middle. And you know what? We're good in the middle. The middle's good because that's where all the goodness is. You know, we're not on top just floating around. We're not at the bottom crustating. You know, we're in the lasagna. We're the meat of it. We support the top. We support the bottom. We're here. You know, poor people teach poor people how to be poor. Middle class people teach people how to be middle class. The rich teach their kids how to be rich. You know, I mean, it's just a school. It's a school of thought, school of ideas. So, you know, I was fortunate enough that I had a father who didn't want to be a poor man, and he ended up having multiple businesses. Some of them failed, and the ones that succeeded were his restaurants and his real estate. But you know what? He had to fight for that. You know, he knew that no one was going to give it to him. He knew that he had to go collect cans and collect newspapers and go clean people's yards and move pallets and newspaper bundles in order to have his business. And you know what? Damn it, that man, as hard as he was on me and as tough as he was, I saw him very little. But my mom made sure that I understood one thing. You may not see your dad very much, but I'll tell you one thing he's doing for you. He's making sure that you have a foundation to at least stand on so you can create the freestyle life you want. She didn't say freestyle life, but this is what I'm projecting here. But she did tell me he's working to make sure you have something, you and your brothers and your sisters. Because he had, and his dad didn't help him. And he's making sure he can help his kids. And you know, it's not that my father was a poor man coming from Peru. He became a poor man coming to the US. When he came here, he had zero. There was nothing. He got robbed when he got off the plane. And when he stepped out of the Miami airport, he got mugged and his wallet got stolen. You talk about undocumented. He didn't even have his documents anymore because they got stolen. But he was on a visa. But you know what? You know, when I hear these stories about immigrants and stuff, my father was an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Peru. I immigrated here. My dad told me one time, he goes, you know, you would have had better opportunities if I stayed in Peru. But politically, I couldn't stay in Peru because I was a publisher and I wrote things as a young man about political opponents that they didn't like, and they threatened my life. That's how we ended up here. We were going to go to San Diego, but, you know, he got robbed. So he had one piece of paper, and that was my uncle's number, my great uncle, my mom's uncle, Uncle Juan. And he called and he says, hey, what's up? I don't have anywhere to go. So he wired him some money. I don't know how he got it there because back then it was tough. But he got him on a bus. Don't know how I got him on a bus. When you don't have any ID, maybe things were different back then. And then, you know what? My dad got on a bus on a Greyhound, traveled for 2 or 3 days, ended up on Broad Street, you know, where the house is no longer there, and stayed with my Uncle Juan for a while. Now, Uncle Juan was, he was kind of one of those guys who was, he liked to be told what to do. He liked to have his job and he was secure. Because back then it was a lot different having a job. I think your wages and everything balanced out a little differently. But he never really created the wealth that he was capable of because that's not what he wanted. But my dad was very ambitious. I don't know if my mom was that way. She just kind of went along for the ride. She came the next year with my uncle. And, my dad, as hardcore and an asshole he was, because he was pretty, he was tough Indian German guy, and, he gave us a good whooping sometimes. But I learned a lot from him. But one thing I didn't like, he would tell me, he goes, "You can't make it. You can't be successful without me." That was one thing, that was his way of saying that I'm insecure and I need my family around me, but I don't know how to tell them that I need my family around me. So how do I keep my family with? I brainwash them. I hypnotize them to believe without me, you're not going to be successful. That's what he did to us kids. And that wasn't correct. But you know what? Did he do it on purpose? Did he do it not? I don't know. Regardless, God rest his soul, my mom's soul, because they both died. My mom died 6 years ago. My dad died 5 years ago. And they're no longer with me. So now I have no excuse. I have no excuse why I cannot succeed in my life. There's no reason that I cannot succeed. There's no reason for me to say, well, I'm going to blame my dad. My dad traumatized me as a child and he whipped my ass. And you know what? I resent him. My job is to heal those ancestral wounds that were placed upon my father, his father, his father. I'm the one who's here to help heal wounds of people who were traumatized, abused, or hurt. Because I carry all those guys in me. I carry my mom's side of the family. I carry my dad's side of the family. My family, my biggest portion of my bloodline is indigenous Peruvian, and then it's Spanish, Italian, okay, Norwegian, Southern Italian, Northern Italian, Welsh, Scottish, Nigerian, Tangbongo, Greek, Albanian. So this is the hodgepodge of me on the Heinz 57 of Ignacio Garcia, Iggy, of all the people who resonate and flow through my DNA, who flow through my blood, and all the people who make me who I perceive myself to be, which is kind of exciting, It makes a lot of sense on some of the things I can do and some of the things I think about, So there's a whole slew about how your genetic makeup creates who you are and where you're at. And, and your brothers and sisters, they can have a lot of stuff that you don't have. My sister's got Neanderthal in her, and I'm like, how are you getting Neanderthal in you? I don't have any Neanderthal in me. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't even know you get Neanderthal. Honestly, I didn't know. But she has a lot of the same, similar traits. And then of course, my kids, they did the DNA test, and they have a lot of traits of mine, and then they have a lot of traits of their mother. But it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. So when we're here and creating our life, we have to be cognitively aware that, you know what? No one's ever told me that it was supposed to be me to make those decisions. I just went along with society. I was a kid growing up in America, from a different country, and wanted to fit in. My goal in life was to fit in. I didn't want to feel like awkward and weird, but it was one of those things that I worked really hard to not have an accent. Sometimes when I talk, you could probably hear my accent pop out, but I would look in the mirror and I would try to say, "Hello, hi, my name is." I didn't like my name because I was like, that wasn't American enough, North American enough, because I am from South America. Because my dad always told us, "You're from South America. You're still American. You're South American." He always told me that. I always tell my teachers that. And they were like, "Oh, okay, you're right." But I fought. I gave myself the name Mickey as a kid because I saw the Little Rascals. I'm just gonna call myself Mickey because every time I say Nacho, everybody's going, "What? Who? What?" That's where I lived. This is this is North End here, Columbus, Ohio. I went to Indianola Elementary School. I went to Indianola Middle School. I went to Bishop Watterson High School. I went to Holy Name part of the middle school year. But it was weird because I thought I was just like everybody else. I thought I was like all the kids. I didn't know I knew I was Peruvian. I knew that I was, Peruvian Italian, I knew I had those traits. I knew I spoke Spanish fluently. But I was American. This is my home. I was going to assimilate. I was going to make sure that I belonged. And I tell you, the only thing that was weird growing up and moving and creating my life is that in America, as a child, I didn't really fit in. I was really short. And I was just like one of those kids you just kind of pass off. But I was always a champion for other people. So when people get in a fight, I'd go in there and break it up. And I'm like, then I end up fighting everybody too. And we're all fighting. I was really fast as a short guy. We're super fast. And I could jump like nobody's business. They'd call me Little Pygmy sometimes. I could jump. But, and then I go back to Peru, being here so long sometimes that you don't know how to fit in. Like I still go back and it's kind of weird. It's like they talk a Peruvian Spanish, version with a lot of slang. And then sometimes I'm just feel like I'm the odd man out. And, it's not that I'm quiet, but then sometimes they're like, why are you so quiet? I said, well, I don't really want to, I don't know. I just don't know how to interject into this conversation because number one, you guys are talking about things that are local, things that I don't really understand. And sometimes you feel like you're in two different worlds. And I grew up like that. I felt like I was in two different worlds. So how do you create a freestyle life knowing all this? But you know what? That was old me. That was old me. And that wasn't too long ago. That was old me because I had to learn the shamanic traits and things from my grandmother and my father because they were both teaching me. And then I ended up having a teacher from Peru. He would teach me too. And then you know what? I just decided one day I'm just gonna be who I am. I can't be anybody else. I'm just who I am. I mean, what better what better gift is that to be who I am, and bring my gifts to the world for those who are willing to listen or partake or be part of. And so I just do the best version of me that I can. And I know sometimes I fall short, and sometimes I hit the mark, and sometimes it's just a learning curve, and sometimes I just got to understand that it's not always going to be that easy. But you know what? Just keep plugging away, Iggy. Keep plugging away. And, for those of you who know me, my name is Ignacio, and the only reason you know me as Iggy is because when I was playing soccer over at Ohio State, they didn't want to call me Nacho. They didn't want to call me Ignacio. It was too long, and the Nacho was kind of weird for them, and so they just told me, we're going to give you a good Jewish name. We're going to call you Iggy. Well, Iggy is a derivative of Ignacio. I didn't even know that back then. And then growing up, everybody knows me as Nacho, in school and all the way through high school, everybody knew me as Nacho. And so my friends who know me as Nacho or Notch, they call me Notch, they're like, dude, I cannot call you Iggy. It just doesn't roll off my tongue. It just doesn't feel natural. And then I don't even attempt to, share that with the other people who I know they know me as Iggy. There's a whole slew of people who only know me as Iggy, and that's it. So it's really fascinating. What's in a name, they say, right? What's in a name? It's the energy that we assign to it, whatever we believe it is. Ignacio is kind of like proper, elder type. Nacho's kind of like, hey, what's up? This, But Iggy's kind of like my persona, kind of who I feel I am the most of those two, all three combined, which is kind of funny. It's just kind of like a mismatch of everybody, of all the, sometimes I'm very conservative, sometimes very liberal, sometimes, Iggy's, but Iggy's just, the evolution of those different versions of myself through time. So this is what I was talking about when you create your freestyle life. So if you want to improve, you want to get better, sometimes we have to redefine ourselves, who we are in our own personal lives, as we see ourselves. Not so much how other people see us, but how we see us. How we see us and how we, honor ourselves in the process. Because sometimes when we don't do that and we let other people dictate to us, and this is happens to you, it happens to me, other people dictate to us what they think we should be. Because there are people, and they don't mean to, and there's some people who do, but they like to impose their will in a weird way. Oh, there's Iggy, man. That's the guy, or whatever. Or they try to pigeonhole you in a certain situation, certain things. And there's a time and place to rebuttal or rebut that and to speak out and say no or yes. You have to figure out the timing on that. But here's the thing. You want to create your self-expression, understand that you have to do it for you. You have to create for yourself. Nobody, not your spouse, not your lovers, not your, brothers or sisters, everybody has their own personal life. Do not wait for anybody. Do not hold back. Do not say, well, I'm going to wait until, they catch up. There's no catching up. Listen, we're not guaranteed our next breath, okay? Our next breath's not even guaranteed. I can go and then I'm gone. Or I can not wake up tomorrow. I could live 30 years, right? Nothing's guaranteed. The only thing that's somewhat guaranteed is that we were born and that we die. Those are guarantees because we're here, right? And the end game is we move out of this body and we move forward. In the middle is kind of like the middle class, right? It's the lasagna in here. As long as you have breath, as long as you're able to move, as long as you're able to connect, this is yours. This is all yours. And everything in the middle is for you to form. Even though there are thousands and gazillion versions of things that will happen and play out, all of them playing out, but one of them becomes prime and one moves forward in time. You get to experience this how you choose to experience it, however you want to experience. How do you want to experience today? How do you want to see today? How do you want to see today? How would you like to experience today? How would you like to see the sunny day today when you're outside? Do you want to go outside? Oh, yeah, it's so hot here. My God, I can't stand this heat. You can do that. Or you can go outside like, it's hot, but you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the sun's up because you know what? It means we're all still alive. It's grateful because you know what? It helps my plants. And it gives me a little vitamin D. Because darn it, because when winter comes here in Columbus, Ohio, you're going to open the door and go like, oh my God, it's so cold out here. I miss the summer. I can't wait till spring comes. We're all going, boom, boom. You open up the door and you're just like, this is a beautiful day. This is amazing. This is awesome. The reason I do that is because if you do it long enough, you start to believe it. You believe all the other crap about yourself. You believe all the other crap that everybody's fed you and told you. You're not good. Oh, you know what? You have to go to school. You need to learn. Who made you the expert? Listen, talk to yourself. The biggest conversation, the best conversations you can have are with you. Because if you don't talk to you, someone else is going to talk to you. Someone else is going to pump your brain with useless information and things that, you don't even resonate with you. And that's half the things in all our lives. Half the crap that rolls around our head isn't even ours. It's somebody else's dictation. You go to school. They teach you what they think that you need to learn, right? Math, reading and writing, all the things that are basic. But then they interject their belief systems, their ideologies, their ideas. And this is how we learn and this is how we discern from life what's valid in our lives, what's important to our lives, what we thought we knew, or what we think we should know. So when we're growing up and we're going to college, do you need college after? Oh yeah, no. Only if you want to. You want to spend a lot of money? Sure, go for it. There's no guarantee you're going to get a job. I have friends who are PhDs and can't get jobs, man. They're overqualified for their positions because there are no positions. But some of my PhD friends also have, they have like, I don't know, they call them associate degrees or whatever, but they have it like in ceramics and welding and stuff. So they actually make more money doing the trades work in the trades business, and they're doing good doing that. And then they incorporate both. So I see different aspects. A lot of the wealthy people in this country didn't finish college. They had an idea, they jumped on it, they ran with it. They were still in school maybe. But sometimes you have to like totally dive into whatever you think that is, whatever you think that idea is, and you totally have to like disconnect from all distractions. I'm going to say this, but TV is a distraction, Netflix is a distraction. Anything that doesn't put money in your pockets is a distraction. Entertainment, yeah, that's fine. Spending money that you don't have is not necessarily fine. But we do this because we're told to consume. And they think, oh, I need to relax. If I don't relax, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Yeah, you just told yourself that you're going to have a nervous breakdown. You just told yourself that you need a mental, break from life or whatever. You're talking to yourself, man. You're telling yourselves that you have these problems and these issues. Just say, I need a day off. But no, we can't say that because no one gives days off anymore. It's very rare now. You have to literally tell everybody, I need a mental health day. That's where we went. This is where we're going. This is what I'm telling you. This is the programming. This is the crap. This is the stuff that they embed in us and create in us and make us think that, oh, if I don't use the proper lingo, I'm not going to get what I need, And this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Because they control our paybook. They control our paycheck. They control our hours. They control how many days we work or how we get paid. And we give away ourselves. We compromise. If I'm a salary worker, they're only going to pay me what I'm worth, right? What they can make off me, what they can make off selling product, and then whatever they can pay me, right? There's got to be a balance for them too. This is why you don't see increase in pay, because everything will become disproportionate because it was never a proportion to start with. And that's why we're all suffering all these stuff. That's why guys working 10 hours, $10 an hour, or now $20 an hour at a McDonald's, because there are people here there who don't want to work at McDonald's. They think it's beneath them. Now, granted, McDonald's is a good starting point. The trades is a good starting point for people, but you have to believe that you're better. Even if you have a job, you gotta believe that you're better. You gotta appreciate that you have a job, and a lot of us don't appreciate that. We're just ready to scoot out of there and looking at our watches going, man, is it 5:00 yet? That's a problem when you do that. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good if you're going, is it 5 yet? Oh my God, I got 3 more hours to go. Why do we do that? Because that's not where we want to be. We don't want to be there. Some of you love your job, and I respect that, and I honor that. But there are others of you guys who just, I got a job because I need a job. And you know what? This isn't my dream job. Well, what's your dream job? Well, I have to move for that. Right there. Why won't you move? Well, I don't know. Well, I tell you, if you have a dream job and you want it, you go for it. You may have to uproot yourself, leave and move. But we sell ourselves short so many times, and it's sad to see. We just let other people dictate our lives. We let our spouses, our significant others, our family members dictate. There are some of you who don't do that, but there's a majority of the people that I have worked with. Someone has control of the reins, and they're resentful and they're angry, which causes anger, which causes a decrease in intimacy between partners, because one partner no longer is intimate because they feel like they're being used, but they're there because they have a codependency on this other person, or vice versa on each other. List goes on and on. But if you want to bust out of that kennel, you're a human being, man. You're a thinking creature. You are like an idea creation. You can get out of any situation. I don't care what it is. You can, if you're walking able and you're not accosted by somebody. But if you're if you're my neighbor next door and you go to work every day and you don't like that, then you need to change it. You can change it. Don't tell me you can't change it, because I will prove you wrong. I will prove you wrong. You can change any situation. Are you willing just to give up all the little things you have created along the way, all the little nuggets and the little juices and the little candy that you've created to keep you there, all the sugar buzzes that you keep to keep you there in that relationship? You want to have a freestyle life? You want to create self-expression? Then you need to do things that you're not doing. You need to think outside the box. You cannot continue the way you're continuing, because it's not serving you. Because if it was, number one, you wouldn't be listening. Number two, you would be doing something completely different. Number 3, you'd be in a whole different situation and sharing ideas with other people. The biggest thing is just be yourself, the best version of yourself at any given time. You know, if you have a problem with yourself, it's kind of hard to move. If you're having like really serious issues with yourself, that's tough. Talk to yourself. Look in the mirror, man. This is a shamanic practice of work, and this is also very therapeutic. Look in the mirror. Go in the mirror and have a deep conversation with yourself. So, hey, what's up? Let me talk to you. Just relax. Not going to bite you, but we need to have a strong talk. 2 things will happen. You will either listen or you won't. Other things that will happen is that you'll start creating connections with your ancestors. Energetically, your ancestors will appear to you. Your guides will appear to you. Spirit will appear to you. Angels will appear to you. You know, God will send messages through the mirror because you're talking to self. You're God. You're part of creation. You're the splinter of creation. God is experiencing the creation through you, with you. And a lot of people don't believe that because we're indoctrinated. We're an indoctrinated species. Our whole existence is indoctrination. Everything about us is indoctrinations. We either belong to this, we belong to that, or we belong to nothing. Indoctrination, belonging to nothing, is indoctrination. You're still indoctrinated into the belief that nothing is real, nothing will ever be, and once we die, we die. That's indoctrination. That's like the hardest thing to hold on to. If you think about it, there's a lot. That's a lot. Not indoctrination, but then you have the indoctrination of religion. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, because you put your trust in another human being, his ideologies and belief systems, for their connection to spirit. Okay, follow me. Their connection to spirit, and you have the same connection to spirit. What makes them special? They believe that they're special. They believe that they can communicate to spirit, to God. They can communicate to angels. Well, I can never talk to angels. I wish I could talk to angels. I wish I could talk to my ancestors. I just don't know how to do it. I just lost the ability. I used to be able to do it. You can do, even in the biblical sense. Jesus even said, you can do more than I've done. You can create amazing things. But most of us don't believe because that's a standard you have to live up to. That means you have to do things that you don't like to do because you're not doing them to begin with. That's why a lot of people have a hard time. Because, well, shit. Now I got to compare myself to Jesus. And that's tough. That's tough enough to compare myself to my brother, But that's where people get stuck. People get stuck. They think they're not worthy enough. And they don't think they have the right to claim that. Before Christ came, Jesus was burning bushes, and not Jesus, but God was burning bushes and communicating in that fashion. God was, doing all kinds of weird things to communicate to us. And then finally, those of you who are connected to the Christian philosophies, the Christian belief system, now you know. But here's the thing. I do believe there's a creator. I do believe somebody created us. This is just my idea. Okay, so don't get weirded out. There's no debate, no challenge. I'm not trying to hear no challenge. But it's all in faith, right? We have to have faith in what we're listening to and what we're being told is right. How do we know? Well, you all have answers, okay? You all have answers, and I'm sure you will post them and you will say, oh, well, I know. This is why, blah, blah, blah. My point is this. When man and woman offer themselves for somebody else to lead them, then the leader has to lead from examples that they either have or don't have, or connections to things that they think they have heard or listened to. Most leaders are not qualified to lead because they're not even qualified to lead themselves. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they're leading. And the people who are with them are trusting and putting faith. Leader knows where he's doing. Leader knows where they're going. Leader knows where he's taking us or she's taking us. We must have faith, because if we don't have faith, what else do we have? Our logical minds create such a tapestry of visions and ideas and creations in our mind, in our spirit, in our soul, that it affects everything around us. When somebody starts to laugh, at first maybe nobody laughs, but if that person keeps laughing and laughing and laughing, then the next person starts to laugh and laugh and laugh. By the time we get to the third person laughing, by the time we get to the third person, the whole group starts to laugh and nobody even remembers how the laughing began. Who started the laughing? They'll usually remember the third guy. Because the first two guys are the initiators, kind of like ones that sprinkle the seeds down. And then the next guy is kind of like tends to the garden. And then the next guy is the one that distributes the wealth of the garden. And so they all start laughing. And see, you can do it in dancing. It doesn't matter what it is. You start laughing, then the whole group starts to laugh. It's like when a comedian tells a joke. It's usually, it's a triggers. As soon as one person starts to laugh, the next person laughs and goes, was that funny? And that wasn't funny. Was that funny? But we just laugh. We laugh because it's contagious. In religion, ideas, it's all contagious. It all works through us. And so when we move forward in our lives, when we want to be different from where we were, we have to really, like I said in the beginning, reevaluate how we see ourselves and how we present ourselves to the world. But you know what? Here's the thing. Even when you do that, it's not necessarily accurate. It's not necessarily accurate. And then when you ask somebody for your opinion, how's the world see me? Some people will say, well, you know what? You touch a lot of lives. And you're going, I don't touch anybody's lives. Whose life I touch? You're like the ripple. You're like the rock thrown in the water and it ripples just out. Sometimes that's a true statement. It ripples out. And you know what? It starts to branch, keep moving out. The circles keep moving out. And next thing you know, you come full circle. When you create a circle, it comes full circle. Somebody comes back like, you don't know me, but you know what? I watch your show. I get this a lot. I watch your show and it really helped me and it really made me feel good I never met you in person, but I really wanted to meet you. And and in my mind, I'm like, that's cool. My wife's like, man, who are these people that just come out of nowhere? I'm like, hey, you know what? As long as it's helping them and it's positive and it's a good way and it's something that's helping them to see that they have the ability to move into a proper space and place, then I'm okay with that. So anyhow, I want to just say thanks to everybody for tuning in and being here with me and letting me share my thoughts with you. I know it's not easy to hear sometimes that, that we're the problem or we're the ones that hold us back. But the more where I do this work, the more I start to realize this is a true story. The only reason I don't do something is because I made the decision not to do it or to do it. And then even if it fails, at least I made the decision to do it. So, it's like a catch-22. You do or you don't. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So I would encourage you to at least do things that put you in a great place and a good spirit and good frame of mind. So, anytime we're getting ready to work on ourselves, make sure that you ground your energy properly. Make sure that you are asking your spirit guides to work with you, and ask Mother Earth to ground your roots and to connect you with the earth and the soil, and that she embraces you. Make sure that you have the protection around you. Make sure that you also know that you're in control of your journey. In any meditation or journey, that you're in control. Pick a number 1 through 10 and make sure that number is your escape number. Boom. When you need to leave a journey, because sometimes we can get stuck in journeys. But if you say 5 brings you back and you're grounded. So make sure when you're doing these things that it helps you. And let me know what kind of things you want to talk about, things you want to share, or if you have any interest being on my show. I'll be gladly to invite you. So I want to thank everybody for taking some time out of their day. And just know it's good to be here. All right. And we're just a speck on the timeline of life, but a powerful speck we are. We are a powerful speck on that. So never discount the amazing the creation and the things that you can manifest and bring to this world. The world's waiting for you. The world's waiting for you to bring to it the things it's been waiting for. And what that is yet to be determined. But some of us will not bring it to the world. But those of you do, I want to thank you. for giving us song, ideas, books, paintings, spoken words, dances, hugs, kisses, embraces, helping someone get Meals on Wheels, whatever you did, however you volunteer, however you work, thank you. Thank you for being involved in your personal life that helps open up doors for other people. Because when people see that you're doing the work, it encourages them to do the work. Trust me, people really want to do better. Most people don't want to do bad. They don't want to have a horrible life because that wouldn't be good. Just keep being the example to the friends and the family that you have. Be the example. You must be the example. But you know what? Remember, Sky Father, Earth Mother, everything in this realm that we're in is temporary. And then once it's gone, it's gone. Then we come back. Those of you who believe in returning and coming back with new, creation, new ideas and new beliefs, new bodies and stuff, that's where you're at. I think whatever we create in this world, we get in the next one. I really believe that. So if you're creating these things that you think you're going to get, you most likely will. I have no proof on that. This is just my thoughts. This is just my feeling. And this feeling's pretty strong because even after death, we're creating. Because remember, we're energy. You can't destroy the energy. It only transmutes and recreates itself and is absorbed and used in a certain way. So that's how I know it's always creating. And the universe is still expanding. The universe is still growing. There's still stars. The telescopes have proven it. It's just expanding. The universe is still expanding. All right. So I want to say it's good to be here. Visit me on YouTube. It's good to be here. That's the channel. Go to my webpage, iggygarcia.com, or just send me a note here. DM me here on TikTok or on Facebook. And if you want to have a session with me, I can do that as well. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight. You guys have a great weekend, and hopefully you can make it to our drummings. We have one coming up here tomorrow, Sayonaraban, at 10:45 a.m. in Columbus, Ohio. And then in Logan, Ohio, we'll be at Ash Cave on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the biggest, beautiful, amazing drum circle you probably will ever be at. All right, guys, take care. Have a good time. Appreciate you all. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate all the things that you bring to my life. And with that, I want to sign out, and I will see you next time on Iggy Garcia Live. Just keep your eyes for my shorts. I do have shorts on YouTube and on Instagram and here on TikTok. And if you need me for any kind of drumming, let me know. Send me a DM, and we can make arrangements for that. All right, take care. Peace and love.